The UK, with its rich history and mystery, is home to 20 notorious haunted places where chilling spirits and eerie poltergeist activity await, drawing in thrill-seekers and lovers of the supernatural. 1. The 30 East Drive, Pontefract. 30 East Drive in Pontefract is a house steeped in paranormal history, known as one of the most haunted locations in the UK. The tale began in 1966, when the Pritchard family moved into the house, unaware that it was already infamous. Initially, things seemed normal, but strange events soon escalated. Furniture would move on its own, lights would flicker, and eerie noises would echo through the halls, particularly at night. One of the most chilling occurrences was the appearance of a dark figure dressed in black, often referred to as the Black Monk. This spectral figure would appear throughout the house, haunting the Pritchard family with increasing intensity. The Black Monk was said to have a malevolent presence that only grew more oppressive with time, driving the family to near madness. The family was terrified, and after enduring a series of supernatural incidents, they eventually moved out. But the house's dark history didn't end with them. Subsequent owners reported similar disturbances, including objects flying off shelves, doors slamming shut, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Some believe the house is cursed, haunted by the restless spirit of the Black Monk who once roamed the area. Despite various attempts to cleanse the house, it remains a place of terror for anyone brave enough to visit. Today, 30 East Drive still stands as a reminder of the terror that once consumed the Pritchards and continues to haunt those who live there. Paranormal investigators often visit, hoping to capture the entity on film. But many report the overwhelming sense that the house does not want to be disturbed. 2. The Old Church House Inn, Newton Abbot. The Old Church House Inn in Newton Abbot is a historic pub dating back to the 13th century. Over the centuries, it has become infamous for its eerie occurrences and ghostly legends. The stories surrounding this inn are as old as the building itself, with reports of ghostly apparitions, unexplained noises, and strange happenings in the night. The most well-known ghost in the inn is a tall man in ancient clothing, who is said to appear in the rooms, particularly near the bar area. Many have witnessed him silently watching guests before vanishing into thin air. Some claim the ghost is the spirit of an ancient innkeeper who was murdered within the walls of the pub. His restless spirit is thought to haunt the inn, forever watching over the property. One particularly spine-chilling story involves a child sleeping in one of the inn's bedrooms. The child was reportedly awoken by a shadowy figure standing at the foot of their bed, watching them with an unsettling gaze. When the innkeeper chased after the figure, it disappeared before his eyes. Other guests have reported hearing whispers in the corridors late at night, the sound of footsteps echoing in empty rooms, and feeling a cold chill in the air. Some even claim that they have felt hands brush past them, only to turn around and find no one there. The Old Church House Inn is not only a beloved piece of history, but also one of the most haunted pubs in Devon, attracting those with a taste for the paranormal. Those who stay for the night often report vivid dreams of past guests, some of whom never checked out, leaving behind traces of their supernatural presence. 3. Skaill House, Sandwick. Skaill House, located on the Orkney Islands, is one of the most historic and haunted buildings in Scotland. Built in the early 1600s, this grand estate has witnessed centuries of history, but it also carries with it a dark past. Over the years, visitors and staff have reported numerous supernatural occurrences within its walls. Some claim to have seen the ghostly figures of Viking warriors who once inhabited the region centuries ago. The house is said to be haunted by these ancient souls, unable to rest due to the brutal history of their invasions. The most disturbing reports involve objects mysteriously moving from room to room, as if being rearranged by unseen hands, and the feeling of cold, clammy fingers brushing against visitors' necks in empty hallways. Among the most frequent reports are sightings of shadowy figures, flickering lights, and unexplained cold spots. One of the most eerie experiences was when a visitor described seeing a tall, dark figure standing near the window, only to disappear before their eyes. Staff members have also reported hearing the sounds of footsteps and voices when no one else is around, along with the feeling of being watched. Many believe that the spirits of the Vikings, along with other figures from the house's long and turbulent history, are still trapped in the building. Skaill House is a chilling reminder of the past, one that continues to haunt those who dare to explore it. In some rooms, the air grows uncomfortably thick, and the scent of something long forgotten seems to linger, making the house feel even more alive with its tragic and mysterious history. 4. Armley Mills, Leeds. Armley Mills in Leeds is one of the most haunted industrial sites in the UK. Once a bustling textile mill in the 19th century, the site has seen countless tragedies, including fatal accidents and untimely deaths of workers. As a result, the mill is said to be haunted by the spirits of those who perished in its dark halls. The most disturbing phenomenon reported is the sound of footsteps echoing through the empty factory floors, even though no one is present. Visitors have also claimed to see figures moving through the shadows, only to vanish when approached. The echoes of past tragedies seem to reverberate through the building, as if the spirits of those who died there are still working, trapped by the very machines they once operated. One particularly eerie encounter occurred when a visitor saw a figure in old-fashioned clothing, resembling a former factory worker, standing in one of the rooms. The figure simply stared before walking through a wall, disappearing into thin air. Other reports tell of doors slamming shut without reason and strange, cold drafts in otherwise warm areas. Staff have often felt an oppressive, unsettling presence, especially in the factory's oldest parts, where most of the deaths occurred. The spirits of the mill's workers are said to still wander its halls, trapped in a loop of their tragic past. Armley Mills is now a museum, but it retains a dark atmosphere, attracting ghost hunters from all over the world, hoping to make contact with the restless spirits that still haunt the site. It's not uncommon for people to experience a deep sense of unease when visiting, as if something unseen is always lurking, just out of view. 5. Hack Green Nuclear Bunker, Nantwich. Hack Green Nuclear Bunker, located in Nantwich, was once a Cold War-era government facility designed to protect the British government in the event of a nuclear attack. Although it is now a museum open to the public, it carries with it an eerie legacy of fear and secrecy. Built in the 1950s, the bunker housed top-secret communications and emergency operations, but its underground location also made it the site of numerous reports of paranormal activity. Many visitors have reported hearing strange noises, like mechanical clanking and the distant hum of old machinery that no longer operates. Some also claim to have experienced feelings of unease, as if being watched by an unseen force lurking in the shadows. Visitors to Hack Green Nuclear Bunker have reported seeing the ghostly figure of a woman dressed in military attire, believed to be a former worker at the facility. Some say she died under mysterious circumstances, and her spirit remains trapped within the bunker. Other strange occurrences include flickering lights, unexplained cold spots, and the sound of footsteps echoing through the empty halls. One chilling experience involved a group of visitors who heard whispers coming from an empty room, only to find no one there when they entered. The bunker's oppressive atmosphere and its association with the Cold War's tense and frightening times only add to the unease. Hack Green Nuclear Bunker is a place where history and the supernatural collide, making it a fascinating, if unsettling, location for those who wish to uncover the dark secrets of the past. Many who visit leave with an eerie sense that something is still hidden beneath the cold, concrete floors. 6. Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Blackpool. Blackpool Pleasure Beach is one of the UK's most famous amusement parks, attracting visitors from all over with its thrilling rides and exciting attractions. However, the park is also home to a darker, more chilling history, with reports of paranormal activity dating back decades. The most well-known ghost story comes from the infamous ghost train ride. In the 1930s, a man named Cloggy worked as an operator for the ride, a job he loved, but tragically, he was killed in an accident while on duty. Since then, reports of strange phenomena have been linked to his restless spirit. Employees and visitors alike have claimed to experience unsettling encounters with a dark, shadowy figure dressed in old-fashioned clothing, often near the ghost train ride. Some have heard the sound of wooden clogs tapping on the floor, echoing through the ride's corridors, even when there is no one around. Others report a sudden, unexplained coldness in the air or a feeling of being watched while on the ride. Visitors have even described seeing the silhouette of a man with a weathered face appear momentarily before vanishing into thin air. There are rumors that Cloggy's ghost continues to haunt the ride, unable to rest due to his tragic death. Despite efforts to clear the park of any paranormal activity, Blackpool Pleasure Beach remains a terrifying location, with its dark past lingering in the shadows of its rides. The presence of Cloggy has grown so famous that some visitors, especially late at night, leave offerings near the ghost train in hopes of appeasing his restless spirit. Some brave enough to visit after closing hours claim to hear whispers and faint laughter, as if Cloggy himself is sharing the ride with them once again. 7. Balgonie Castle, Glenrothes. Balgonie Castle, nestled in the heart of Glenrothes, is a beautiful medieval fortress that has been standing for over 600 years. However, its stunning exterior hides a dark and haunting history. The most famous ghost story associated with the castle is that of Green Jeannie, a woman who met a tragic end within its walls. According to legend, Green Jeannie was betrayed by her lover, who ultimately killed her in the castle's towers. Her spirit was said to have never found peace, and she is said to haunt the castle to this day. Many who visit Balgonie Castle have reported strange happenings, particularly in the tower where Green Jeannie is believed to have died. Guests have heard faint whispers, cold gusts of wind, and even the sound of footsteps following them through the dark corridors. Some claim to have seen a shadowy figure dressed in green, slowly drifting through the castle's halls, her face obscured by a hood. There are also stories of a soldier, thought to be from the 17th century, who roams the castle, his eyes vacant and his expression unreadable. Witnesses have reported an unsettling feeling, as if someone is standing just behind them, but when they turn, no one is there. Despite the efforts to restore and preserve the castle, the spirits of Balgonie Castle continue to linger, trapped by their sorrow and betrayal, forever haunting the ancient stone walls. The castle itself has become a location for paranormal investigations, with many claiming to have captured eerie voices and ghostly images on film. Even the caretakers of the castle have reported unexplained events, like doors creaking open by themselves and an intense coldness that settles in certain rooms, almost as if the past is pushing through the present. 8. Wookey Hole Caves, Wells. The Wookey Hole Caves, located in the picturesque town of Wells, are famous for their stunning limestone formations and unique beauty. But the caves are also steeped in legend, particularly that of the Wookey Witch, a figure who is said to haunt the dark depths of the caves. The witch, according to folklore, was a woman accused of practicing witchcraft and was transformed into stone as punishment. However, her spirit remains trapped in the caves, causing mysterious occurrences for those who dare to enter. Visitors to Wookey Hole have reported feeling a strange presence in the caves, often accompanied by an unsettling drop in temperature. Some claim to hear whispers in the darkness, as if someone is speaking in an unknown language, while others report hearing the sound of chains dragging along the ground. The most chilling encounters involve the appearance of a shadowy figure, sometimes seen standing motionless in the distance, only to disappear when approached. Many believe that the figure is that of the Wookey Witch, still lurking in the shadows, angry and vengeful. Some have even claimed to feel a cold hand rest on their shoulder or experience sudden waves of nausea while exploring the caves. Despite numerous attempts to rid the caves of their paranormal presence, the Wookey Witch's spirit remains ever watchful, tormenting those who enter her domain. Locals often speak of a curse that falls upon those who venture too deep into the cave system. Some explorers have reported a sensation of dizziness or a strong compulsion to turn back, as though the witch's spirit is trying to control their every move, drawing them further into her lair. 9. Morecambe Winter Gardens, Morecambe. The Morecambe Winter Gardens, a grand Victorian theatre and concert hall, is known for its rich cultural history and stunning architecture. However, it also has a reputation for being one of the most haunted locations in the area, with numerous reports of strange and paranormal occurrences. The most famous hauntings are said to take place on the stage, where spirits of former performers and staff are believed to linger, unable to leave the theatre that was once their home. Over the years, staff and visitors have reported hearing the sounds of footsteps echoing through the empty hallways, the faint rustle of costumes in the dressing rooms, and the eerie creak of the stage floor, even when no one is performing. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures standing at the back of the stage or watching from the upper balcony, their faces obscured by the darkness. The most unsettling stories come from those who have experienced the sensation of being touched or grabbed by invisible hands, often while walking through the corridors. A few have even reported seeing a ghostly figure in old-fashioned theatrical attire, standing motionless under the spotlight, only for it to vanish before their eyes. It is believed that these spirits are trapped in the theatre, forever reliving their final performances. Despite renovations and attempts to restore the theatre, the ghosts of Morecambe Winter Gardens continue to haunt the stage, waiting for their next audience. The haunting presence of former actors is so palpable that some stagehands have reported feeling an unseen audience, as if they are being watched from the shadows, even though the theatre is empty. Some even believe that the restless spirits of old performances still echo through the walls, creating an otherworldly atmosphere that lingers long after the curtains close. 10. Great Fulford Manor, Exeter. Great Fulford Manor, a historic mansion located near Exeter, has long been associated with eerie paranormal activity. The manor, which dates back to the 12th century, is known for its beautiful architecture and extensive grounds, but it is also a place where the supernatural is said to thrive. According to local legend, the manor is haunted by multiple spirits, with the most notorious being the restless ghosts of former residents and visitors. One of the most chilling hauntings takes place in the main staircase, where reports of mysterious footsteps and the sound of doors slamming shut are common. Many have claimed to feel an overwhelming sense of dread while walking through the grand halls, as if an unseen force is watching them. Some visitors have reported seeing fleeting glimpses of ghostly figures dressed in old-fashioned clothing, walking along the corridors or standing near the windows, staring out into the mist-covered grounds. The most terrifying encounters involve objects moving on their own, including antique furniture being shifted, and lights flickering or dimming inexplicably. Some even claim to have heard the soft whisper of voices, calling their names from the shadows. Despite efforts to cleanse the house of its dark energy, the spirits of Great Fulford Manor continue to haunt its halls, trapped by the mansion's tragic past, and their eerie presence is still felt by those who enter. Some believe the manor's walls are steeped in sorrow, holding the memories of past inhabitants who met untimely and violent ends. Local legend speaks of a tragic love story that ended in betrayal, and many claim the restless spirits of lovers long dead still wander the halls, seeking vengeance or solace. 11. Guy's Cliffe House, Warwick. Guy's Cliffe House in Warwick is a location renowned for its dark and terrifying paranormal history. This eerie house, dating back to the 18th century, has seen countless ghostly events, making it one of the most haunted spots in the UK. The chapel area, in particular, has been the centre of poltergeist activity, where heavy footsteps and unsettling dragging noises are heard frequently, seemingly coming from the upper floors. Visitors and staff have reported hearing strange sounds, as though something is pacing upstairs, despite no one being there. In addition to these noises, the drawing room of Guy's Cliffe Cave has earned a reputation as a particularly terrifying space. It is said that an oppressive, malevolent presence resides there, with the atmosphere becoming thick with an unshakable sense of dread. A few brave souls who have ventured into the room report an overwhelming feeling of nausea and unease, as if something unseen is watching them. The most unsettling incidents occur in the underground rooms beneath the house, where many have reported objects seemingly moved by invisible hands. It's not uncommon for guests to feel a sudden surge of fear that compels them to leave the area immediately, with the chilling sensation that they are no longer alone. In the basement, mysterious lights have been seen flickering without explanation, and the air is often described as unnaturally cold, as if a spectral presence lingers there, trapped in the shadows. The combination of unexplainable phenomena, dark energy, and its long history of hauntings make Guy's Cliffe House a place that remains terrifying to all who visit. 12. Daring Woods, Pluckley. The haunting tales surrounding Daring Woods in Pluckley have fascinated locals and ghost hunters alike for decades. Pluckley is known as the most haunted village in England, and Daring Woods adds to its ghostly reputation. The most chilling event to occur in the woods took place on Halloween night in 1948. That night, strange lights and eerie sounds were observed in the forest by locals, setting the stage for a gruesome discovery the next morning. A dog walker, making their usual morning rounds, stumbled upon a horrifying sight. Over 20 bodies of villagers from the nearby Maltman's Hill area were found piled amongst the fallen leaves. The bodies appeared to have been left there in a state of disarray, with no visible signs of wounds or injuries. The police conducted an investigation, but despite performing autopsies on the bodies, no clear cause of death was found. Authorities eventually concluded that the deaths were caused by carbon monoxide poisoning, which led them to close the case. However, the peculiar circumstances and the mysterious nature of the deaths left many feeling unsatisfied with the official explanation. To this day, some believe the villagers were victims of a paranormal force, perhaps even the restless spirits of those who perished in a strange and inexplicable event. The woods are said to be haunted by these souls, with locals claiming to hear eerie whispers, rustling leaves, and phantom footsteps deep within the forest. Some believe that the spirits of the deceased still roam the woods, eternally trapped in a haunting cycle of confusion and despair. Visitors to Daring Woods have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, making it a chilling place to explore, especially after dark. 13. British School Museum, Hitchin. The British School Museum, located in the town of Hitchin, is home to more than just historical artifacts. It harbors a wealth of ghostly tales that continue to intrigue those who visit. The museum, which is housed in a building dating back to 1820, was once a school where children attended classes. Over the years, it has developed a reputation for being haunted by the spirits of former pupils and staff members who seem to linger long after their passing. Among the most common reports from visitors are strange cold spots and inexplicable flickering lights. However, the most unsettling experiences involve the eerie sounds that are often heard throughout the museum. Many people have reported hearing faint children's laughter echoing through the empty hallways, accompanied by the distant sound of footsteps that seem to follow them as they walk through the exhibits. Others have encountered shadowy figures darting across the corners of their vision, only to disappear when they turn to look directly at them. One particularly unsettling account involves the ghost of a teacher, said to haunt the classrooms. Witnesses have described seeing a figure, dressed in old-fashioned clothing and holding a cane, walking through the halls, seemingly as though they are still performing their duties. In some instances, this ghostly teacher has been known to make strange, unintelligible murmurs, as if speaking to a class that no longer exists. These encounters have left many visitors feeling unnerved, and some have even claimed to hear the faint sounds of chalk writing on a blackboard long after the museum has closed for the day. Despite numerous attempts to cleanse the building, the spirits of the British School Museum remain, creating an atmosphere thick with mystery and unease for those who dare to enter its haunted halls. 14. Nothe Fort, Weymouth. Nothe Fort, situated at the entrance to Weymouth Harbour, was built in 1860 to defend the naval port. Over the years, it has gained a reputation not only for its military history, but also for its eerie hauntings. The most famous spirit believed to linger here is a whistling soldier, whose eerie tunes echo through the fort's dark, damp tunnels. Visitors often hear the faint sound of whistling late at night, but when they investigate, no one is ever found. Another unsettling sight is that of a white figure seen gliding along the fort's parapet. The figure is described as moving effortlessly, without the usual gait of a living person. When approached, it disappears into the air, leaving behind a chilling sense of dread. The fort's underground passages are notorious for strange occurrences as well, with many reporting footsteps that seem to follow them, despite being alone. The cold, oppressive air in these tunnels is said to make visitors feel as though they are being watched, and some even experience unexplained cold spots. The fort's history is filled with tragedy, which some believe is the reason why spirits still haunt it. These lost souls seem to have been trapped in the fort's maze-like corridors, unable to move on. Visitors often report a sensation of unease, as if the fort is alive with the presence of the past. The fort remains a magnet for ghost hunters, drawn by its dark history and active paranormal events. Despite efforts to rid the fort of its restless spirits, the haunting presence remains, adding to the legacy of this historic and eerie location. 15. Margam Castle, Port Talbot. Margam Castle, a Victorian Gothic masterpiece nestled in Port Talbot, is a site rich in history and shadowed by an eerie, supernatural presence. The most infamous spirit believed to haunt the castle is that of Robert Scott, a former groundskeeper who worked on the estate for many years. According to local legend, Scott was brutally murdered by a poacher, and his restless soul has never been able to move on. His ghost is often seen near the grand Gothic staircase leading into the castle, and his presence is said to be filled with rage over his untimely and unjust death. Investigators have often reported strange occurrences, such as the feeling of being watched and unexplained cold spots, especially near the stairwell where Scott is said to appear. The atmosphere is described as heavy, and it's said that his spirit roams the grounds, forever haunted by the tragic events of his past. Scott's ghost is not alone in his haunting. The castle's corridors are known to echo with the sounds of children laughing. Some believe these voices belong to spirits of children who once lived in the castle, and they are often seen in Victorian-era clothing, drifting in and out of rooms, mischievously moving objects as they go. Many witnesses have reported a sense of playfulness from these child spirits, who seem to enjoy causing small disruptions. Lights flicker, and objects are moved seemingly without reason, all of which add to the overall sense of discomfort that visitors feel when exploring Margam Castle. The castle's history and tragic past seem to have bound the spirits to the location, making it one of the most haunted places in Wales. 16. Smethwick Baths. Smethwick. The Smethwick Baths have long been known for more than just their historical significance as a Victorian swimming facility. Paranormal activity is said to plague the building, particularly in the quieter, forgotten corners of the underground tunnels. Several accounts tell of fresh, wet footprints mysteriously appearing on the floor after the last bathers have long since gone home. Often, these prints are found leading toward the now abandoned changing rooms, though no one is ever around to explain them. Along with the unsettling footprints, many visitors have witnessed shadowy apparitions in the dimly lit corridors beneath the building. These figures seem to glide swiftly past, disappearing before a proper investigation can be made. The eeriest phenomenon, however, involves the changing rooms, where bright lights seem to flicker on and off of their own accord, sometimes illuminating the entire space in an unnatural glow before abruptly turning off again. The local legends speak of the souls of former bathers, forever trapped in the labyrinth of tunnels below, still seeking to finish their final swim. The baths remain a hot spot for paranormal investigators, eager to uncover more of its chilling secrets. Some even say that on particularly quiet nights, the faint sound of splashing water can be heard, as if the spirits are still swimming in the depths, eternally trapped in the watery darkness of the baths. 17. Craig-y-Nos Castle, Swansea. Craig-y-Nos Castle, nestled in the lush hills of Swansea, is steeped in tragedy, making it a hotbed for paranormal activity. The story of its most prominent haunting begins in 1843, when the Powell family moved into the castle. Captain Powell, a well-respected man who settled into the life of a rural gentleman, had aspirations of stability. He became the county judge and high sheriff of Brecknock, but misfortune soon began to plague the family. In 1851, tragedy struck when Captain Powell's youngest son, succumbed to a brutal bout of cholera. The loss of a beloved child set the stage for further sorrow. Captain Powell endured the devastating deaths of his wife and daughter before he too passed away in 1862. The family's suffering didn't end there. 2 years after his death, the eldest son perished in a hunting accident on the Isle of Wight, compounding the grief. Sarah, the eldest daughter, who had married Captain Alloway, remained at the castle, trying to preserve what was left of the family's legacy. Yet the shadow of death loomed heavy as Captain Alloway died unexpectedly a few years later. Alone in the castle, Sarah was left to carry the weight of this series of tragedies, and it is said that her sorrowful presence still lingers. Today, Craig-y-Nos Castle is said to be home to many spectral figures. Guests often report feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Some claim to hear the soft, mournful sounds of footsteps echoing in the halls, and others have seen fleeting glimpses of the Powell family members, still trapped in their sorrowful existence. The castle remains one of the most haunted locations in Wales, drawing those brave enough to explore its sorrowful past. At times, guests even report the faint smell of lavender in the air, believed to be the lingering scent of Sarah's presence. 18. Fort Amherst, Chatham. Deep within the winding tunnels of Fort Amherst, an unsettling chill hangs in the air, and many claim to have felt the presence of restless spirits. The most prominent of these is the ghost of an old soldier, likely a casualty of war, who haunts the lower levels of the fort, particularly around the gun rooms. His appearance is often described as a shadowy figure, glimpsed only by the fort's workers or those who visit frequently. Visitors have reported an eerie whispering that fills the air in the dead of night, followed by the unmistakable sound of heavy boots echoing through the tunnels. The old soldier's presence can often be felt even when he is not seen, sending a shiver down the spine of anyone nearby. His ghostly figure is said to move just out of sight, leaving behind the lingering sound of military boots thumping against the stone floor. But it is not only the soldier who haunts the fort. Echoes of a child's cry are often heard in the distant corners of the tunnels, coupled with the mournful wail of a woman, believed to be a former resident. These sounds create an atmosphere of despair and tragedy that permeates the fort, as if the spirits of those who perished in war and loss are unable to find peace. Some visitors even report hearing the soft splash of water, though no water is present, leading many to believe that the spirits are trapped in a never-ending cycle of their final moments. These experiences have made Fort Amherst a popular site for ghost hunters and paranormal investigators, eager to uncover more of the fort's chilling history. The restless spirits, particularly the soldier and the grieving souls, seem to remain bound to the fort, forever trapped within its walls. 19. The Castle Keep and Black Gate, Newcastle-upon-Tyne. The Castle Keep and Black Gate in Newcastle-upon-Tyne have long been shrouded in mystery, with many visitors and staff reporting eerie phenomena. The most notable haunting is the sound of ghostly chanting, which seems to emanate from the Queen's Room within the keep. The chant, described as a low, rhythmic murmur, often fills the castle's stone halls, carrying with it an ominous atmosphere that makes visitors feel as if they are not alone. Some say the chanting is the voice of a female spirit, believed to be a past resident of the castle who met an untimely and tragic end. This spectral figure has been seen wandering the corridors, drifting through the castle's dark chambers, often appearing as a pale, translucent shape in flowing robes. It is believed that she is the spirit of a lady who either died under mysterious circumstances or was a prisoner forever bound to the castle. Visitors who have encountered her describe the chilling sensation of being watched as they wander the castle's rooms, feeling a cold weight in the air around them. In addition to the spectral woman, there have been reports of disembodied footsteps echoing through the corridors, even when no one is visible. The sound of footsteps seems to follow visitors as they walk through the castle, leaving them with a sense of unease, as though they are not truly alone. Some have also claimed to see dark mist swirling in certain rooms, a black fog that vanishes as quickly as it appears. These unsettling phenomena add to the castle's reputation as one of the most haunted places in Newcastle, where the boundary between the living and the dead feels particularly thin. The long, turbulent history of the castle continues to haunt those who dare to explore its dark past. 20. Champness Hall, Rochdale. Champness Hall in Rochdale is known for its eerie occurrences, especially around Christmas. The owner, once a skeptic, became a believer after witnessing unexplained events. One of the most unsettling is a large Christmas tree that mysteriously falls from the stage. The sounds of a piano playing and ghostly singing have also been heard when no musicians are present. Shadowy figures are often seen moving through the upper balcony, and the strange sound of someone jumping onto the stage has been reported. The most chilling sight is the apparition of a preacher near a staircase behind the stage, his form described as shimmering like static on a TV. These hauntings are most frequent during the Christmas season, adding an eerie atmosphere to the holidays. The combination of unexplained noises and ghostly figures has made Champness Hall a site of ongoing paranormal activity. Staff and visitors alike feel the hall's eerie presence, with many too afraid to stay after dark. The building's long history, intertwined with ghostly occurrences, has made it a well-known spot for paranormal enthusiasts. Which location do you think is the most haunted in the UK? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Creepy Experience for more spine-chilling content.